Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we've got another fun show today.
We do, yes.
A lot of hodgepodge of different stories.
Lots of
I kind of like that when we focus on lots of different ones. I kind of like that
too, just pulling out old news stories and talking about what was happening.
You know, it's amazing what you learn from old newspaper
Oh,
clippings.
yeah. So much stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. Very interesting. So, big plans today? Anything fun?
I'm taking my middle daughter, Carissa, to get her learner's permit at the driver's license facility today. So I will have a new chauffeur.
So, but has she had... So she actually had the class yet? How does this work?
Yeah, so you take the class.
Because she just turned 15.
Yeah, she's turning 15 today. So you take the class, and when you're 14. And then when you're 15, then it's up to the parents to drive, approximately 5 million miles with their child between then and their 16th birthday. And then on their 16th birthday, then they get the driver's license.
Who did she have for her? So she's driven with the school teachers?
No.
Oh, no.
It's the parents' job to teach them to drive on the city streets. Like, the class teaches them the rules of the road, okay? And then the driver's ed teacher drives with them right before their 16th birthday. Oh. You get your hours in with the driver's ed teacher, right before your 16th birthday. But between now and the time that she gets to drive with the driver's ed teacher, it's up to us.
Okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
I didn't know how that worked.
Which is fine, and like Jason and I don't mind, but I know there are parents out there that don't really give their kids the opportunity to drive, and so then when it comes time to drive with the driver's ed teacher, there's problems because they really haven't had any practice.
Yeah. I gotta tell you this funny story. So I was raised on South Locust Street. Literally, if you just go down, you can see the house I was raised in. I can't think.
You'll have to show me sometime. I don't know.
Yeah, it's literally like when you're going down South Locust Street. You know, you do that corner there.
Yeah.
That house, that's like a gray house with that brick front porch. That's the house I was raised in.
Okay. On which side of the road, the east or the west?
East.
Okay.
And so my dad, God rest his soul, was the most perfect man I've ever known in my entire life. My sisters, we lost our dad young. Life has not been the same with him. He was the greatest father anybody could ever have. Okay. But my dad's patience were about this long.
Oh, no.
So literally, and I must confess, when I was younger, about 12 or 13, when my parents would leave, I would take the car drive all over town. I love to drive. I'm a driver. I always have been.
I love to drive, too. I drove all over when I was 12 and 13, too.
And then,
my kids are like, you did what?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
I'm like, well, I went wherever I wanted to.
Oh, I did, too. They should have never left the keys. Bad parenting, Mom and Dad.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't drive out of town or anything, either, but just around where we lived. I drove.
At first, just started being around the block.
Then
it was 2 blocks. Then it was, now I'm crossing the track. Oh, yeah, I drove everywhere. And my parents never knew it until my cousin, Kai Hempill.
He told on you?
Yeah, he saw me and ratted me out. My mom was like, now by this time I'm like 15.
Yeah.
You know, but I've been doing it for 3 years. And Mom was like, Stacey, are you driving? And it was an old 1977 Duster, nothing automatic.
It was like a boat.
Oh, nothing automatic at all. No, this was like it was my grandpa's car that was actually belonged to Watch It Oil Company, his oil company. And Mom was like, Stacey, do you realize that if you would have wrecked that car or hurt somebody, Grandpa would have been sued? And that's a Watch It Oil Corporation company car. I'm like, oh, no, didn't know that. Been doing it for 3 years. My typical mom was like, well, honey, okay. But yeah, I'd done it for years. But anyway, so I'm an old pro, right? My dad's going to teach me how to drive. So literally, my house is here. The lumber yard is here.
Yeah.
3-4 blocks, maybe.
Yeah.
We get in the car. We back out. Of course, my dad's like, now, Stacey, you're going too fast.
Oh.
I'm like, Dad, I got this. Did you? Because I've been driving for so long. So and he said, now, he said, Stacey, I'm telling you, and he said a few cuss words in there too. You're going too blankety-blank fast. Slow down. You have no idea what you're doing. You've never driven before. Because, of course, my mother, God bless her.
She didn't tell
my dad I've been driving for 3 years. And she intercepted that phone call when Kai ratted me out.
Okay.
So anyway, so we're going. My dad and I literally, we don't even make it to the tracks. We make it to the lumberyard. My dad's like, Mike, pull this car over. He pulled this car, pulled over the lumberyard. He's like, get out of the passenger side. You'll never get your license. You're the worst driver I've ever. Get out. And we had to switch sides. We turned around and drove back home.
Oh my gosh.
That was.
But you didn't have any trouble getting your license.
Oh, heck no, because I was a perfect driver.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, 3 blocks. You've never been behind. Yeah, he was just going, I'm like,
Uh-huh.
it was so hard not to say. But my dad was all talk and no.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he was with me and my sisters.
Uh-huh.
Oh, you girls, blah, blah, blah. He was the biggest teddy bear. And, of course, I'm just, like, dying laughing.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm just, get out. You can pull over. It was so funny. And
Oh,
my
gosh.
driver's ed teacher, my birthday's in September, so I had it during the summertime.
Okay.
Once again, I've been driving for a long time. Larry McGrew was my
That was your driver's ed
my
teacher?
driver's ed teacher. Of course, once again, I think I'm not this. I'm like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
he's like, he called me heavy foot hempill.
Oh, that's funny.
Because I just,
And we still drive like that.
and we still
Stacey and
drive
I
like
both
that.
drive
I
rather
want to
quickly.
get where I'm going. And
That's
it
right.
don't matter if I've got all the time in the world.
I know. I saw something on Facebook the other day, and somebody had a bumper sticker on their car, and it was like, "Go around me. I left on time." I'm like, just because people are passing you doesn't mean they didn't leave on time.
No,
It
I'm
means,
not
it
running
means
late.
that you're slow and you're a hazard. I think people that drive slow are more of a hazard than people that drive fast.
I agree.
And,
There's nothing worse
yeah.
than somebody on the highway going 45.
I know.
But,
And
yeah.
I mean, like, if I were queen, I would say no slow drivers between the hours of 7 and 9 a.m. People's got places to
We
go.
got things to do.
Those people that are out there just cruising along
Yeah.
slowly, I'm
It-
like, wait and leave after 9 a.m., please.
It doesn't matter if I've got all the time in the world. I'm going to get where I go, and then I don't know. I don't like time wasting.
No, I don't either.
I want to get there and go, but like my biggest pet peeve, slow drivers in the fast lane.
Oh, my gosh.
Drives me nutty.
In the wise words of Nancy Lewis, my driver's ed teacher,
Uh-huh.
if you are being passed on the right, you are in the wrong.
Yeah.
So if somebody's
Yes.
passing you from the right, going around your right side of your vehicle, you are in the wrong lane, my friend.
Get over.
If you're being passed on the right, you are in the
Agreed.
wrong.
Nothing makes me crazier. There's a reason why that lane is there.
That's right.
Get over. And but I had this one lady tell me, she told me, she's like, well, if I want to go over in that left-hand lane, I said, well, then you're going to get run off the road. She's like, because that's my biggest pet
Oh, I
peeve.
know.
I'll get behind people, or like two people are passing each other. Unless you're going to pass that person and go about 10 miles an hour faster, boom, boom, get around them.
I know. I think
don't
people
like
do that when
either.
they have their speed control set, their
Cruise.
cruise control, and then they just want to, like, on the interstate pass somebody that's going 69 miles an hour. They want to pass them going 70, and then you have that lag where they're, and I'm like, just speed up for 2 seconds and go around.
pass.
You're holding up like 20 cars.
Yeah, I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
I
Then-
think everybody should drive everywhere all the time as if they're on
Agreed.
their way to a fire.
I think so too.
The
I'm okay
problem
with
is
that.
a lot of people are not good enough drivers to do that.
Yeah, I'm a good driver.
Luckily, you and I, we are excellent drivers.
I
Just
am a
like
good driver.
Raymond on Rain Man, I am an excellent driver.
Yeah, I am a good driver too. I pay attention to everything. That I know what's in front of me. I know what's coming up behind me, and I know what's coming. I'm constantly. I know. Yeah, I don't really. I'm a good driver.
I'm a good driver.
I'm
too.
a good driver. I like to drive. I do drive fast, and I get speeding tickets. But then I believe I turned into my dad because I don't believe my boys ever rode with me.
Oh, really?
I may have turned it. Yeah, they were like, "We want to ride with Dad. Dad, we don't want you. Don't want you yell all the time." I'm like, "I'm not yelling."
My kids haven't done much driving with me either. They do, like, my mom does it. They like,
Really?
yes, they like driving with grandma, and she's really good and patient, and I'm not. But she also has a nice sized car that's been easy for them to drive. Whereas,
Yeah.
like with Malia, I drove a Yukon XL. It was
Oh,
huge.
that's big.
I like driving it. It was difficult for her as a new driver to drive this huge beast. You know,
Right,
she felt
that's-
more comfortable in grandma's car.
Yeah, I get that. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
See,
So-
she should have just drove my little duster around town.
That's right. Yeah, man.
Now, I'll tell you what, when
don't
you
wish
had muscles
still had
back
that?
then, no power brakes, no,
No
power steering, no
It's
power
like,
nothing. It was the greatest thing ever.
What kind of
Okay,
ad do you have today?
I found a really neat ad from 1890.
Wow, that's a blast
It's
from
a
the past.
beautiful ad, actually. It's beautiful. So it's been reprinted or whatever. Yeah, look at this. Look at this ad. It's great. Look how beautiful that is.
Ooh, I love
Coca-Cola.
artwork like that. Of course.
Isn't that gorgeous? Drink Coca-Cola, 5 cents. An 1890s advertisement poster showing a woman in fancy clothes, partially vaguely influenced by 16th and 17th century styles, drinking Coke.
Full of cocaine.
Isn't that? Yeah.
Didn't back then it did have like some cocaine in it or something?
I think so, right?
We should do an episode on ingredients of products in the past. That would be good. Write that down.
I'm going to write that down right now. But is that not the most visually beautiful? That might be one of the prettiest ads we've ever.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Like the artist, I mean, the roses are perfect.
That purple ground.
Yeah, the beading.
Purple ground.
The purple background. The beading on her dress is, beautiful, and her pearls. Yeah, very pretty.
I love it. Yeah, I thought that was just
very
a great
Gilded Age-ish.
Yeah,
I love the
beautiful.
Gilded Age.
See, that's another one. I'm always talking about the ones that would be printed out and. Yeah, I thought that was a pretty.
Yeah,
picture.
that's beautiful. That was a good one to bring in.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yes.
Oh, and it's almost time for us to take a quick commercial break.
Already.
Gosh darn it.
Okay.
I don't even know where time goes.
I know. Well, we get to chit-chatting, and here we are. So we'll take a quick commercial break, and we will be right back.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa Know-How at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, give me all your guns too.
John Lucas.
What?
You better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and I am going to read a letter that was written from A.J. Chaney. He is a citizen from Flora, and he just talks a little bit about the forgotten past.
Oh, okay. So he was like a historian, sort of.
Yeah, I believe so.
From way back.
Yeah, I believe
Okay.
so. It's just it's one of Rena's, Rena Lentz Thomas's articles. I don't know. I just thought it was written very well, and he just kind of like talks, revisiting the past. Things about he remembers. Okay. The following is the writing of a citizen of Flora about our past. The writer is A.J. Chaney. In October, and so I'm going to. It's his words I'm reading.
Okay.
In October 1853. A wagon train of 8 wagons with cattle bringing up the rear emerged from the prairie. I was 4 years of age at that time. and the youngest of the party, and sitting on the wagon seat beside my mother, peering out through the opening in front. I glimpsed the land that was destined to be home for these 72 years.
Wow. He remembers arriving on a wagon.
So this, in 1853. So apparently A.J. Chaney, this is 1853, in October of 1853, and he was 4 years old.
Okay.
So we're talking, when was Florida's?
1854.
1854.
So he was with one of the very first settlers.
Yes.
That came here.
Yes. My father, Louis Chaney, with his family, household goods, and livestock, had disposed of his holdings in Clinton County, Indiana. And on a previous trip to this section, had bought a large tract of land, some 300 acres, located in Stanford Township, 2.5 miles southeast of Flora, and with his family came to find a home in Illinois. So
Okay.
we are going by wagon, literally with everything they have in their wagon in 18.
Wow. 2.5 miles
53.
southeast of Flora.
Yeah, so I got to get my bearings. Southeast of Florida. Yeah, like Stanford Road and all that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, out in that area.
Okay.
Kind of almost probably like out where Industrial Park is at, I would assume.
Yeah, could be.
I don't remember. I remember that being the truck stop. And I remember that being, that's one of the stories we want to do too. I remember that being the truck stop and then nothing else. I don't ever remember, but I bet there were homes. Mm-hmm. At one time, I found an old picture of a very, very old cabin that's like at the base, like if you're coming from out of town and you go up over the overhead and you come down at the base where the water tower's at. There was a really neat old, one of the first cabins ever built, log cabins, and it was a dance hall.
Yeah.
I found that really. Have you ever come across that picture?
Yeah, I came across that somewhere.
That's a cool picture.
Yes.
The farm was purchased of William Trent, who entered it. It's weird the way the wording too. Who entered it from the government. A portion of that land became my home, and on it I lived and reared my family, living there continuously for 65 years until I moved to Flora. So maybe that wasn't. So that area would have been. So maybe before it was actually Flora, because Stanford isn't. I mean, I don't know how the lines were drawn. My father was a circuit rider of the Methodist Church, having licensed to preach by the Indiana Conference in 1831. And throughout his long life continued to preach, at first in homes of the settlers and later in schoolhouses and churches. We were soon settled in our two-room log house.
Oh my gosh, it makes me think, which I do want to do a show on the log cabins over at Ken Mundy.
Oh, yeah.
But they had, I was in one last
They're
fall.
fantastic.
Yeah, so
I
tiny.
love those.
Ah, me too.
Yeah, I wonder if that, do you know the lady that owns those? Maybe we could go over and take pictures.
I took a bunch last year to get
You've
ready.
got, oh, so you were sneaky and already took pictures. Good girl.
Yeah,
I
I'm
love
on
you
it.
so much.
I'm on it.
When the first trip was made to Flora, I was allowed to go. Trip, 2.5.
2.5 miles.
2.5 miles.
That was their trip, and he was allowed to go. Wow.
We found there a general store that, with other things, carried a supply of ammunition. The store was owned by George Harter and Solomon Finch, and as I recall, was located a short distance east of J.H. Throgmorton's drugstore.
Okay.
The O&M Railroad was not yet built through, but had reached a point near Noble, and construction was going to start in the spring. The work was accomplished by Irish labor with pick, shovels, and teams. Floor was made a wood station with a wood yard west of the present station, which I wish that building was still there.
No kidding.
But have you guys ever, what was that one? There was a show on Netflix or whatever, and it was basically a Western show, and it was like the building of railroads. Oh my gosh, that part, the work.
Oh, I know it.
Man, the work in that was crazy. Among the first shipments were carloads of dressed deer for St. Louis markets.
Okay.
A large one brought the sum of $4.
Wow.
A 2-mule power pump supplied the water for engines, and later a windmill furnished the power. The first resident minister was Reverend I.H. Elkins of the Baptist denomination. The first physicians were Dr. John Morgan and Dr. W.B. Wilson. The first Sunday school that I know of was held at the Russell home, father to J.M. Russell, at what is now the J.J. Cassidy place. Who knows? It's probably gone. Gunn Brothers and T.P. Vanderveer were merchants of the early days. I love this one. An early hotel keeper was a Mr. Eddie.
Mr. Eddie. Mr. Eddie Haskell. Mr. Eddie.
Mr. Eddie. I like this too. I recall the celebration of a victory of the Civil War when the settlers and villagers met on the one street at night, North Avenue.
Just picture that. They're celebrating the end of the Civil War, and this guy writing this remembers the end of the Civil War, and they all went to North Avenue, right there in North Avenue where Glitzy Girls, our bank, all of that is, and they were celebrating the end of the Civil War right there.
Right.
I mean, honestly,
it gives me chills.
It gives me chills, too.
It gives me chills.
It's
I love
crazy.
it.
I mean, you just don't think about it. You drive through there, you're on your way to Dairy Queen or the post office or wherever you're going, you just don't think about what's happened there.
No, you don't. I mean, bonfires were lit. The men wearing gloves would toss the flaming balls from hand to hand.
What? Why do that, man? You're just asking to get burned. You have no medical care. Why would you do that?
Well, you have them 2 old doctors, but you don't have any hospitals right now. But so just close your eyes and picture North Avenue with bonfires all over it. They're celebrating a Civil War
and people
victory.
juggling fireballs.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not even sure what They were wearing gloves, Beth.
Of course.
I mean, and how big were those fireballs?
I don't know.
And what's the purpose of the fireballs?
Just to say I'm a man. Look at me.
What a man, what a man, what a man. Yeah, how funny. I do not recall the date of the first 4th of July celebration, but I remember as if it was yesterday, the great day. The village was on the barren prairie land, so it was decided to make an arbor for shade. Accordingly, poles and brush were brought from the seminary woods, a framework cover.
Hang on a second. Seminary woods?
Yeah, what's that?
So there was a woods nearby named Seminary Woods?
Yeah, I wonder if that's over by Seminary Street.
I wonder if it is too, in Seminary School.
Yeah. Yeah, see, once again, with these articles.
It's a puzzle.
Comes new stories. Write that down. Seminaries, come on, Beth.
I don't have my notebook right here. I have to dig it out.
You don't have to dig it out. We'll write it out. I'll remember it.
I will grab my notebook.
I was going to say, she's going to grab that right now. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll forget. My memory's like 2 seconds long.
Exactly. Well, we're a little busy right now. We're in the middle of doing the Nostalgia Theater show, and this is the time. We're like, 2 weeks away?
Yes.
Something like that, and now's the time when my brain literally turns to mush. So we'll get better. Maybe. I don't know. La, la, la. Here we go.
I interrupted. I'm sorry.
No. That's what we do to each other. We interrupt each other. A framework covered over the brush was constructed, under which the crowd sat for the speaking and to eat the barbecue dinner. 2 of the speakers, I recall, were my father and Reverend Elkins. The crowd was estimated at 400 people.
Wow.
That's quite a showing of people.
For that time period when there wasn't that many settlers here.
I think so, yeah. When the trains were put on the new O&M tracks, my brothers and I would go as near the track as we were allowed and then climb the trees so we might see the first smoke plums of the train. Now think about that if you're a little kid.
Makes me think of Zacchaeus.
Right? Zacchaeus, come down from that tree.
Yeah, he climbed up there to get a better look for Jesus,
Yeah.
And these kids are climbing up the tree to get a better look at the celebration in the trains.
But think about how exciting once those railroads came to town and that first train came blowing through with that cold, with that smoke coming out.
Yeah, that had to be something.
You know, because it starts slow and then it gets louder and louder.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that would
And you know what? I just thought of, I bet those people, like, we find it comforting to hear the trains. And, like, when the train stopped coming through Flora, I would wake up because of the silence. Like, I liked hearing the trains. But those people who it was a brand new sound, and they didn't have sound machines. They didn't have a fan to sleep with. They probably slept in complete and total silence other than the cicadas or whatever.
Yeah.
Can you imagine them being asleep and hearing that train? I mean, I bet they sat bolt right up in bed.
I bet they did too.
Like if a train came through and they were sleeping, it probably wasn't a comforting sound to them immediately.
It probably wasn't, but can you imagine
might be
how...
exciting sound, but it was probably like, man, that's so loud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the train whistles would have been, and just that, they sounded different because they literally sounded chicka, 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 chicka. Not like ours, just clink, 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 you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I can't even imagine. These little boys probably lost their mind.
Yeah, they were excited, I'm sure.
And I love the way the writer puts that. First smoke plums of the train. The prairies were covered with tall grass and wildflowers, and were in much greater abundance than now. We've talked about this. Remember, Clay County had all that prairie grass, and we had buffalo. Remember we talked on that in an episode.
Yeah.
Deer, wild turkeys, and prairie chickens added to our family larder.
Okay.
Many times, as a barefoot boy, I walked across the prairie to the store of the to the store for ammunition for my father and brothers. So little boys could just go and get ammunition back in the day. That's awesome. From the morning to the evening, the span of life has been passed in the community. I have seen the changes time brings. From a rough, crude pioneer village, we have grown into a cultured, thriving town.
Wow. The things he saw.
Wow. You are living in a wonderful age. Make the most of your heritage. Okay, Mr. Chaney, I love you.
Yeah, that should be our quote to end the show with, right there.
Right. Yeah, you
well
are
said.
living. Yeah, you are living in a wonderful age. Make the most of your heritage. The preceding has been the words of Mr. A.J. Chaney, a citizen of Flora and Clay County from the past. One just wonders what he would think if he could see all the changes which have taken place in this area today. We can only have admiration for the early settlers.
Yeah, I often wonder
Agreed.
about what they would say if they could see what our world is now. You know, I
Yeah.
think they were excited for some change in technology and improvement, but then at the same time, it's like maybe went a little too far.
Yeah.
Where they're like, you might need to get back to your basics.
Yeah. And when I talk, the change that I don't care for is I despise this artificial intelligence. I don't like artificial intelligence at all. I don't know. There's just something about it that freaks me out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like to, I
Yeah.
don't know. It's just weird. I don't like it.
Yeah, it's a little scary.
Because
about
who
what
is that
could-
talking? Who is that knows everything? It's not a person.
It's a computer program.
Yeah, and to me that freaks me out. Because what if artificial intelligence wants to turn on us?
Yeah. Well, I mean,
It can happen.
yeah.
Yeah, that's just a computer you're talking. I don't know. It creeps me out a little
Yeah,
bit.
it creeps me out a little bit too.
I don't know. But, yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break.
On that note, we'll be
and
right
on
back.
that note, we'll be right back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank. We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online banking, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree.
Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
It's the weekend and your symptoms are worsening. The morning of a big meeting and you have a bigger sore throat. Ever experienced that urgency after picking up your sick child and your community health center has already closed? You will be able to connect to a provider at crhpc.org. Even if you have never been to CRHPC, you are welcome to utilize our services. Feel better after scheduling a video visit with CRHPC.
Tomorrow, Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. Trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we're just talking a little bit about just several different little stories that we had put together. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Revolutionary War soldiers that are buried in Clay County.
Okay.
I mean, we talk a lot about Civil War soldiers, and we can go to Elmwood and see stones that were Civil War soldiers. But we don't talk very much about Revolutionary War soldiers.
Do we?
Because there's only, to my knowledge, 6 of them buried in Clay County. And I have seen a couple Revolutionary War soldier graves that were in the Henson Cemetery, which is actually located in Wayne County. So I'm not including them in today's talk. But there's only 6 of them, and 4 of them are for sure, at the time this article was written, they were for sure like determined to be truly a documented Revolutionary War soldier. There was 2 of them that the Daughters of the American Revolution had not really truly verified, like where they served or what they did, but I'm still going to include them in there because I feel like by now they probably have proven it, but this article was written several years ago. But the first one's name is Nicholas Gibson. And he is has a government stone in Wesley Cemetery in Pixley Township. Now, Pixley's like what, Ingraham?
Ingraham area.
Mm-hmm. Okay. His inscription on his stone is very short and very simple. It just says, Nicholas Gibson, West Virginia, Private, Virginia Militia, Revolutionary War, 1765 to 1858. So, he didn't die until 1858. The Revolutionary War ended in, what, 1776?
1776.
And he was born
that's my
in,
assumption, yeah.
He was born in 1765.
What?
So he was a boy. He was a little boy.
He was a child.
If these dates are right. He was a child, which children did enlist. They a lot of times wanted to, especially they would follow their father. Right. Or another loved one. They would supposed to be like hanging back from the battle and doing other things, carrying water, drums. There's other little jobs, but like there were boys involved in that war. So
wow.
Nicholas Gibson. Luckily, he survived the war and went on to live a long life. The second one, excuse me, I'm going to mention is George Goebel. We've heard about George Goebel. We've actually talked about him a little bit. He was he was the first settler in the city limits of Louisville. And he came from Indiana. He was here around a little bit before 1820, I think, is the first mention of him. So he was really one of the very first. He got here shortly after George Macaulay, the first settler in Clay County. He farmed. He had like a little, he was the pioneer. He had a water mill. It was called Goebel's Mill. But he was also in the Revolutionary War. And I believe he is buried in the Old Louisville Cemetery, which is not where I thought it was.
Okay, where is that's not the one that's across from the street?
Well, that's what I thought was the Old Louisville Cemetery.
One,
now, this book, again, I did not check my sources against this, but this says the Old Louisville Cemetery is situated 4 blocks south of the public square. So that would be out toward, like, that old road between Louisville and Flora that no one's allowed to go down. What's it called? Hardy Hills. Hardy Hills. That would be that direction. I don't know.
Well, when we go on our cemetery tour, we'll have to find it.
Well, I'm not taking my car through Hardy Hills. It says people would bring their dead here from a distance of 15 miles, and there's about 300 people buried there.
Maybe we could borrow somebody's What's those weird things?
Oh, we have a 4-wheeler. You want to jump on the back?
Yeah, either that or I'll just get Max side by side.
Oh, well, that would be more comfortable.
Yeah, we'll do the side. I'm not getting on the back of a 4-wheel with you. I've seen you drive. You'll be like popping wheelies.
Okay, but anyway, there's 4 Revolutionary War soldiers buried there in that old cemetery. George Goebel is one of them. And then the next one is, his name is Moses Johnson. I like that name, Moses Johnson.
Moses.
Sounds like a good guy. He served in the Virginia troops and enlisted in 1777 with Captain Alexander Morgan in Company 2, 2nd Regiment with Colonel Alexander Spottiswoode. He came to Clay County and died there and it says aged over 100 years.
Really?
He lived to be over 100. That's unusual for that far back.
Hey,
and
Ty,
he was pensioned.
Google when the Revolutionary, because he just enlisted in 77. When did the Revolutionary War end? Because it's
what are the dates of the Revolutionary War? And
is,
also, this is the book that I said earlier on another episode. They did not proofread.
Yeah,
the dates in this one can be screwy, so I am not gonna say that this is 100% the date.
1783
is when it ended.
Is when it ended.
Oh, okay.
So 1776 though was when we got our independence, right?
It started in 75.
75. So when does the? I can't. What is that? 1776 is a date.
That's when they signed the Constitution, right? Or the Declaration of Independence.
The Declaration of Independence was. So the war continued going on after that.
Yes, I guess so.
Okay. We signed our declaration before the war ended.
Yeah.
Because we knew we were going to win.
That's right.
That's right.
Okay.
Go Founding Fathers.
Back to Nicholas Gibson. He might have been a little bit older than I originally thought. If he, enlisted after 1776,
True.
He might have. Okay. But anyway, so Moses Johnson lived to be over 100, and he was pensioned, and that's an interesting thing that I knew that they did some pensions like after the Civil War, but I didn't know about the Revolutionary War.
No.
So he was pensioned, so he had money coming in because he served.
I didn't know that.
Uh-huh.
That's interesting.
So the next one, his name was John Lewis. He served in the war from Virginia, and he continued in the service even after the close of the war. So he stayed in the Army. He came to Illinois and liked Clay County and stayed here until his death. Not sure for sure where his burial is, but he also received a pension. He's listed under pension reports.
Really?
Mm-hmm. John Lewis. The next one is Samuel Parks. And he was also from Virginia, and that is where he served at in the war. He came to Illinois after the war, located in Clay County, where he also died very aged, as he was 93 years old in 1840.
Wow.
He was also pensioned. So these Civil War or these Revolutionary War soldiers that survived the war, man, they were tough.
They were tough. Man.
Yeah, so they lived to be old, even back then when everything out there was trying to kill you.
Huh. That's shocking to me.
Yeah, I know. Me too. Nathaniel West. He's the last one I have here, and he was born in Baltimore County, Maryland, in 1750, and he entered the service while living on Cross Creek, Virginia. What's Cross Creek make you think of? Cross Creek?
Cross Creek.
Isn't that, it's like in Outlander when they come to South Carolina, they lived near Cross Creek.
I love Outlander.
Yeah. And okay, so he served 3 months, during which time he assisted in building Fort McIntosh. He also served in 1779 and 1780 with Captain Matthew Ritchie and Colonel Crawford. He actually came to Lawrence County, Illinois, but then decided to move to Clay County later on. And that's where he died at age over 90 years old. These men lived a long time.
Shocking.
He was also pensioned.
And pensions?
Yeah. So they had money from serving.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So the Vincennes Trace chapter of the Daughters of American Revolution is this area's chapter. It's actually, I think, went defunct. I don't think they had enough members to keep it going. I'm not positive on that, but I don't think it's still going. But they set up a monument to the Revolutionary War soldiers on April the 7th of 1973 in memory of all of the Revolutionary War soldiers buried in Clay County. Now, I don't know... I'll have to read a little bit to see where this monument is exactly, but They only put 4 of these names on there until they determined for sure on the other 2. And I'd like to see the monument to know if the other 2 ended up on there. But they were Nicholas Gibson, Moses Johnson, Samuel Parks, and Nathaniel West. George Goebel and John Lewis were a maybe. Maybe we'll add them later.
Yeah.
But we're not until we're positive.
We got to make sure
that they were for sure there. But yeah, so I love this quote. Okay, the Daughters of the American Revolution's goals are best illustrated by the closing passage of William Tyler Page's The American Creed. I'd never heard this. I might have studied it in school, but I don't remember this. The American Creed, and it is, quote, I therefore believe it is my duty to my country to love it, to support its Constitution, to obey its laws, to respect its flag, and to defend it against all enemies, end quote.
I want that on a bumper sticker.
No kidding.
No kidding. People, get back to it.
Yes, love our country, support its Constitution, obey its laws, respect its flag, and defend it against all enemies. Yeah.
Oh, that's the American Creed?
Yep, the American Creed.
I've never heard of that.
By William Tyler Page.
I'm just making all sorts of notes here.
Yeah. So anyway, that kind of wraps it up on the Revolutionary Soldiers, but just kind of wanted to give you all a heads up because we talk a lot about Civil War, but a lot of times our mind does not go all the way back to the Revolutionary War.
Right.
Like, because it's just so far back, and you think about that war happened on the East Coast. You think of the Founding Fathers in the East Coast, but a lot of those men, I mean, yeah, they fought in Virginia or whatever, but they made it back to Clay County, and this is where they're buried.
Yeah, that's very
interesting.
That they did, because we never talk about revolutionary people.
Nope. Nope. But there are some of them out there. Not many, but there's
not many.
Few.
But we got. We'll take them.
And none of them are at Elmwood. I don't believe there's any buried at Elmwood.
I don't believe so either. No. Very interesting.
Yep.
So we're going to switch from
Revolutionary War to what?
Stamps.
Stamps. Okay. Stamps are interesting. Are we talking about postal stamps?
No, I think we're talking about stamps where you could like cash them in.
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of stamps. Like when you purchase things and stores would have stamps and then you...
Yes.
Now, Jim, and this went on for a long time because Jim remembers collecting stamps and then going in Robinson and going to stores and cashing in his stamps to get toys.
What was the grocery store that used to be next to where IGA is now? Like a long time ago in the early 80s? Big John's. Big John's had stamps. I can remember going in there with my grandma. What's funny?
A long time ago in the 80s.
long time ago when I was a little girl in the 1980s. My grandma would go there, and they were like little green stamps. She didn't use all of them, and sometimes she would let me lick them and stick them on something.
Yeah, because like people actually have stamp cards, and then when you'd fill in all those stamp cards, you could take them.
Maybe that's what
you could redeem them. You did because you licked those.
She was probably using me just to lick.
She was.
And I
was
thought
that Grandma Zelda?
Yes,
Zelda.
And no, I can remember Grandma Rose doing that too, going in there. But yeah,
they're cash stamps. We're going to read about that.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of stamps.
Oh, fun. Okay.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Peggle's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Peggle Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
The insurance specialists have options to tailor to your needs at CSI Insurance Brokers. Experienced insurance brokers at CSI are skilled with all types of insurance plans and policies and represent many companies, including Safeco Insurance. You'll benefit from their detailed expertise, unbeatable premiums, and commitment to customer service. CSI Insurance Brokers and Safeco Insurance Company, providing affordable rates on quality insurance since 1952.
For over 50 years, at your locally owned and operated Royal King Supply in Salem and Olney, we've helped you and your neighbors enjoy an easy country lifestyle. We carry the most thorough sporting goods department around with a huge variety of hunting and fishing gear, camping equipment, and a variety of firearms for any need. Our team is here to help you find whatever you need. Open every day, it's Royal King in Salem and Olney, your locally owned farm and home store.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and we are switching gears, and we're going to talk about stamps and more.
Okay.
Okay, so this is one of Rena's columns too. So much history is available just for our seeking. This present pursuing was in an old newspaper, which was over 100 years old, a 1914 edition. It involved the listings of many of the businesses of that time and also the introduction of trading stamps in the area.
So way back in the 1914, not 1980s. I mean, they might have had them in the 90s.
They kept it for a long time. But
she's going a little further back than I did.
Yeah, you went way back to the 1980s. In January 1914 edition, we find D.C. Webb, who had been making cigars at his home in North Florida. Needing to move and extend his business, he moved his factory to the Presley building just east of the post office. I didn't know we had a tobacco. Write that down, Beth. D.C. Webb made cigars in Florida. Just east of the post office, he moved his business. It was reported that Mr. Webb had 27 years' experience as a chief manufacturer. He used the best brand of Havana tobacco, according to this article. I have had there has been inquiries about Brown Clothing Store in the past, and in the February edition of the 1914 newspaper, we find this store opened in Florida for business. The firm consisted of Ira A. Brown, Fairfield, and Cecil Brown. The latter had charge of the floor business, which made specifically of gents' clothing, hats, shoes, and furnishing goods of all kinds. So we're going to be talking about businesses that you and I have never come across.
Yeah.
Also in February of that year, 1914, we find a new industry listed. The Meeker Hardware Store was manufacturing iron products consisting of tanks and troughs of every description.
Okay, like feeding tanks and troughs. Okay.
In fact, they boasted of manufacturing everything that is made of galvanized iron. H.A. Gray, manager of the firm, had equipped a modern shop with every facility for doing the best kind of work and supplies demanded in the home. In April of that year, the firm Dixon and Glenn of Salem opened up a new furniture store in the Valbert building.
Okay.
They handled a full line of new and used furniture. So the Valbert building there on the corner has been around for a while.
Right. Well, we talked about the Valbert building. There was three other there was other ones before the one that they're in now. So I don't think it would have been if in 1914 they were not in the building.
They were not in the building where they're in now. That chances are that
so.
Building's probably gone.
Yeah, I believe so.
I would believe so. Competition was flourishing then, and for some of the merchants, they began to offer Eagle stamps as an incentive to do business with them. Not to be outdone or outmaneuvered, other merchants met and came up with the idea to offer their own Flora cash stamps.
Okay.
With these Flora stamps, the customer was giving one stamp for every 10 cents in purchase. So basically, these Flora cash stamps are Kohl's
cash.
Kohl's cash.
I was thinking that too. Rewards points. There's a lot of like you can get Gas stations have rewards cards. You can get one. Old Navy has a point system.
Oh, every credit card does.
Yeah, there's all of these point systems. So that's a good marketing idea if it's stuck around this many years.
Right.
Over 100 years later, it's still working.
Get this. When a book was full, you know, all those stamps you licked for your grandma? Mm-hmm. It was good for a 50-cent discount on merchandise in the participating stores. Note the copy of the sign offering the stamps. Hey, Ty, pull up that picture I sent of what the Flora stamps look like. There it is.
Oh, okay.
We give and redeem Flora trading stamp. We give and redeem Flora, Illinois cash purchase stamp. 2.5% discount from trading stamps. Eagle stamps.
Cool.
See, that's a pretty cool. So apparently they downsized them in the 80s when you licked them for your grandma. Those look like they're bigger pieces. Mm-hmm. Some of the stores which were involved in issuing the Flora cash stamps were, here we go, P.A. Meyer, Dry Goods and Shoes. Just take note of these stores that we had. It's crazy. Borders and Chaffin, C-H-A-F-F-I-N, Coal and Ice, F.G. Meyer Grocery and Bakery, Chaney Meat Market, Chris Meyer Drugs, E.D. Hancock Furniture, W.H. Hogan Company Feed Mill, J.A. Ice Cream Parlor.
I wish that was still here.
Me too. I wish that. Friend Hat Shop.
Fun.
Sam James Opera House, Flora Electric Company, and Robert Strain Shoe Shop.
Wow.
Advertising in the newspaper goes a long way in describing the times, and here are some of the other ads listed. Flora's Candy Kitchen, makers of homemade candies and ice creams. And all kinds of soft drinks. They were in the Miller Building.
The Miller Building.
You going to write that down? Mm-hmm. So all you people that are out there listening to this, write these, when you listen to this show, write these down and look up more stuff for Beth and I. We'll use you as guinea pigs
Research
here.
assistants.
Research assistants. Dr. W.L. Suggett, physician and surgeon, located over 2 Max Bakery in the Robert Gray Building. Jones Cafe with H.S. Rich Wine, proprietor, located at the second door west of the casino. We've talked about that casino before. Remember?
Yeah.
J.B. Gran, exclusive clothier and tailor, located the first door east of the Opera House. So that would be
right there on North Avenue.
On North Avenue
West
would be
North
West
Avenue.
North Avenue. Silver Moon Restaurant, advertised as still handling Lee Gang and Sons breads, cakes, and bakery items. Fresh daily, direct from the bakery. 6 loaves for 25 cents. Can you even imagine?
No.
Edward Wilson, local representative for Ideal Coffee and Tea Company of St. Louis, offering coffees, teas, spices, cocos, extracts, etc. Mrs. George Gilly was proprietor of furnished rooms with bath, hot and cold water day and night.
Oh, well, fancy.
Okay, that's an interesting thing.
Yeah.
So we basically had bathhouses in Flora?
Well, or was it a hotel?
Mrs. George Gilly, proprietor of offered rooms. Wonder where that would be at.
Offered rooms. Yeah, she was like a boarding house.
First Class Meals, located 2 blocks west of Springfield Branch on North Avenue in Flora. Flora Marble and Granite Works and Monuments, managed by E.M. Salyards, S-A-L-Y-A-R-D-S, was located the first door east of Hancock's Furniture. The Charles H. Greenwood Restaurant advertised that it was for the railroad and traveling men. Earl R. Sidwell had a wallpaper store and would bring samples to your home.
Wow.
Just call 429 and ask for Mr. Siddle. See, because I still want to do those switchboard ladies. I want to do a story on them. Ask for Mr. Sidwell. Collins Produce Company were buyers and dealers of poultry, butter, eggs, hides, and wools. Last but far from least were the 2 of the biggest businesses in Flora 100 years ago. Competition was great, and it was good to see many of the smaller businesses doing so well right alongside the larger ones. Wish it was more like that today.
No kidding. I mean,
telling
how
you,
awesome
people
it
don't
would be to have
understand.
commerce like that downtown. That would be amazing.
Oh yeah, when I was little, I was born in '67, and so late, in the '70s. When I remember, we never left town to shop. You never went to St. Clair. You never went those places. You never went to Effingham. You never did any of that stuff because we had everything here,
Right.
and that was just,
I can't even really imagine it.
So you don't even remember a downtown area like that, do you?
I mean, I remember Tontine.
Right.
I remember Fashion Lane, but I didn't really live here when I was little, so.
Yeah, I remember like all the drugstores and the jewelry stores, and yeah, I remember it all. It was so neat. Jayco's was one of my favorite, and the hardware stores. It just had a different feel. Downtown was hustling. I don't remember exactly when, but I remember like even when I remember like instead of parking like we do now, that how you parked in.
Oh,
like
I wish our streets were a little wider. I'd really like to bring that back.
I wonder why we don't.
I don't think our road is really wide enough.
Wide enough now.
I mean, it should be the same width as it always was, right?
I would think so, but our vehicles just bigger.
Vehicles are bigger, I think, but like our driving lanes are wider than they used to. I think they used to have like a narrower lane to drive in.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like you could get more people downtown, but they are working on that one parking lot there in front of the old medical. They're putting the city is doing that, and that's going to be good because we need downtown parking.
Is it going to be used for downtown parking, or is it just used for the police station?
No, I called and said, would that be able to be public parking? And I was told, yes, it would be able to be public parking.
Good, that's great.
So I think that's going to be really good because because downtown, we are so trying to bring downtown back. Will it be like it was? No.
Right, no.
But we can at least bring back some things.
Sure.
Because downtown went from like a retail to now
business.
What do you call what I do? I just
like
went
service industry.
Service industry, yeah. Yeah, so we literally went down from all retail. Of course, you had your barber, you had like a hair salon, but like the same time, like we literally went from retail to now service industry. Because accountants and
accountant, attorney, insurance,
hairdressers, barbers,
employment, that kind of thing.
So we're not much of a retail like we were, but I think the days of bringing that, I mean, that's just never going to happen because now, and I'm going to go so far to say, but sooner or later, you're going to see a shutdown of, I think, everything with people ordering online and Amazon. I think Amazon's going to do to Walmart what Walmart did to downtowns. I think that day's coming.
Interesting.
I do think that day's going to come. I think it's going to. I think a bigger shark's going to come along and eat the little shark. Because Walmart, as good as people like Walmart, and as much need as is, Walmart destroyed downtown businesses.
Oh right.
That's when Flora lost their downtown, was when Walmart came.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not a real big fan of Walmart. It is what it is. But right. I think
it's a necessary evil.
It's a necessary evil, but I think a bigger dog's coming. I think that bigger dog is Amazon.
Okay.
I think it's going to happen. I think sooner or later you're going to see Amazon has their own postal service, which they need to do that now because it's a lot of work for the carriers that we have.
Yeah, but
now.
I don't think the United States Postal Service could stay in business if it wasn't for Amazon. It would
you think that's
I think Amazon.
You're probably right.
I think Amazon has saved the Postal Service. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I bet you're right on that. I never thought about that.
But anyway,
I bet you're right.
We're getting a little political, so we should change the subject because we try to stay off of that. So anyway, yeah. So what else do you have?
Well, you know what? I had another quote picked out, but I think I'm going to go with that article I did, Mr. A.J. Chaney. I love what he just said. You are living in a wonderful age. Make the most of your heritage. So, and your heritage, I mean, what Beth said a minute ago with like a long time ago, the 80s, we're making a turning point. I mean, we're making that. Because the 80s was what? 1980 was 44 years ago. 44 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're making that. So and now we're seeing a comeback of course, fashion always, fashion and hair always comes around like it does every 10 years or so.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how now antiques now are from the 70s.
Yeah. I know you go in an antique store and you see a Cabbage Patch doll and you're like, wait a minute, What?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Well, that's it for today, dear.
Anyway, thank you
That's
guys
it.
so much for joining us. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, By the Way with Beth and Stacey, and we will catch you next time.
All right. God bless you and have a great day.